Millennials, what skill did you acquire in the 90s that you no longer use? I don't know what some of these comments are even taking about, so mine is how to clean a mouse ball. Like the old computer mouse, not a testicle. A lot of people apparently had no idea that the reason their mouse would drag is because the ball was covered in gunk. You had to take it out and clean it from time to time. I had to volunteer at a library for the forced volunteer work they make you do in high school, and part of my job was to clean the computer mice. That wasn't in the 90s, though. Everyone saying cursive, did you not end up with just a weird smash of both cursive and printed handwriting? Is that just me? LOL, I still use cursive every day, it's just about half of my handwriting. I used to write exclusively in cursive in school. My handwriting is absolutely atrocious, and one day I actually had trouble reading my own writing. Switched to print after that, and it was a mix of print/cursive for a long while, but gradually all the cursive elements disappeared and now it's all print. Cursive can be much faster after all. Printed is more legible, but when you're in a hurry, of course you start linking letters again. I don't mean English calligraphy. Me too. But no one else I know. My partner, same age, writes entirely in cursive. All other family/friends, boomers, other millennials, Gen Z, use all print or block letters. Nice to meet a kindred spirit. Me too. It's a mess. I abandoned cursive as soon as I could get away with it. I can write the letters just fine if I was taking my time, but it turned into a mess when I was in a hurry. I also hated the shape of multiple cursive letters, especially lowercase r. I really hated that one, especially if the tail of the letter to the left of it ended high, and then the R would have that weird lopsided look. These days I actually print in all capital letters after discovering from somewhere, I think it was somewhere on here, that capital letters are less likely to be mistaken for each other. I also seem to recall reading that it's slower to read all capital letters than the usual capitalization structure. Somehow I got it in my head to speed up my reading speed by practicing reading all caps printing. Absolutely. I thought I was the only one. Glad I'm not. Texting using T9. I was so good, I could carry on a verbal conversation with my parents without looking at what I was texting. I wish I had some other skill that would have aged better. No offense, but I could text like a madman while keeping my eyes on the road. No question. All this touchscreen stuff is just crap. Touchscreen phone. Touchscreen car display. F that. I want to just slide the hot/cold slider and turn the knob to fan speed 1 to 5. Bam, done. Now it's like boop 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 boop, looks away from the road. Oh shit, if fat fingered it, balls, the button didn't quite do it, boop boop boop. Crash. Any pilot will tell you, tactile buttons and controls are unbeatable. Touch screens are bad. On the other side of that coin, I didn't like T9 as I couldn't make sure it was using the right word when I wasn't able to look at the screen. I'd always do the multiple presses method, which was a bit slower, but it was pretty much guaranteed I'd have a complete message all correct. Naturally, this blind texting skill was very handy when it came to texting in a classroom without the teacher seeing, as you could just feel for the right key and press however many times as required. With one hand too, so you could still pretend to be working. I used to get bored in study hall and take the balls out of the mice. Forgot to put one back in, and the next day the library was locked, with a sign up saying there was a rash of vandalism. Then they glued all the mice shut. I would look at a text in class, reply back without looking and having the phone just out of sight of the teacher, and answer their questions without fail. I felt so skilled doing that. More importantly, you had to scrape the gunk off the wheels that ball rolled against. I am fully capable of writing in cursive, using a card catalog, driving a manual shift car, starting a 2-stroke motor, modifying an autoexec.bat file, reading a paper map and navigating with a compass, navigating with a VOR, among others, and I haven't done any of those things for a very long time. Driving manual is still very useful in Europe. Cursive writing and standard cars, a now rather oxymoronic name if ever there was one, definitely. I literally cannot write anything in cursive anymore that isn't my signature. As for driving stick shift, my dad insisted that I learn on one because it was a valuable skill to have, in his eyes. I was not against learning how to drive stick, but for two issues. I didn't want to learn while I was still figuring out the ropes of driving in general. Instead, I wanted to learn it after I already had my license. I could have done without learning on the gutless little shitbox car the driver's ed place had that had been through every new driver in the city and had a friction point the size of a fingernail. Anyways, that was several decades ago now, and not only have I literally never driven stick with my full license, last time was on my second to last driving lesson, the last one I took on the automatic car I would be taking the test with. I've never even had the opportunity. Every car I've ever owned or been interested in owning, every company vehicle I've ever driven, and every vehicle loaned or rented to me have all, without exception, been automatic. Starting a two-stroke? That's the same as starting a four-stroke, man shrugging light skin tone. I volunteer as a firefighter in my rural area. Being able to drive a manual makes me one of the few who can drive two of our trucks. We are rural enough that we often need to use a map book to find where we are going, as there's no service for Google Maps or the like. With you the others though. Modifying an autoexec.bat file. I was going to write MS-DOS batch scripting as a skill I most certainly haven't needed in a long time.